pajamas. So if we use the common denominator as a measuring bar, measuring stick, that implies MYM are stronger in this matchup, but they need to actually perform on the Rift for that to be true.
Yeah, and you can never count out the fact that Lemondogs here lost the first game of the day. It was an early start here, 10 AM, so that can actually play into things, depending on how well you've slept, how early you've had to get up there. We'll see if that changes around for this one. Right now we can see that pretty much a line defense set up for both teams at this point, not wanting to risk anything, at least in the first minute.
Yeah, and very interestingly as well, both teams have put defensive wards down. If you actually look at Zoro0's position, he's got a blue ward in the blue buff, and there's nobody covering that entry. You can see the pings in the minimap in between himself and Nuke Duck's Orianna. So they were pretty much, being aware that maybe somebody might want to come in, and that was their only point where somebody could sneak through. But it's just completely defensive. It's just nobody wants to overextend. What we do see, though, is that MYM are looking like they're putting their duo lane up in the top lane.
Yeah, duo lane going to go up there. Right now for the opposition, though, Graves and Thresh are down at the bottom. You can see the golems will be the start for them, and they'll be demolished quickly here. In terms of jungle starts, let's have a look at Nasus. He's kicked things off with the Wraiths on that bottom side of the jungle, and an identical start over the other side, albeit with the help of Syndra for Makata.
So Makata's going to pick up this early red buff as opposed to going for blue buff first, and we'll see if he decides to go for like maybe an early gank or put some early pressure down. And when Makata's played Nautilus earlier in the weekend, he did a similar route, similar path, but he didn't gank quite as early as I think maybe he could have. So we'll see if that is a strategy that they wanted to work on, maybe get him into the lanes a little bit quicker. And especially with the Zyra combo in the top lane, you can route into the route. I lost my words. Dredge line, thank you, from Nautilus. Route from Zyra, dredge line from Nautilus, lock someone down, kill them. There we go.
I knew what you meant. Everyone at home got what you meant. Yeah. That's good. That's fine. Just you didn't. Yeah, exactly. So then, in this top lane, of course, we will be seeing Caitlyn Zyra versus Malphite. Bottom lane then will be Thresh Graves versus Elise. Who do you think fares best from these? The two solo players in these 2v1s.
I think I'd have to give the benefit to Elise, because in her Spider form she does have innate sustain. We'll be able to get some health back, and we'll be able to use that ranged auto attack to farm under the tower. Both of them will have a difficult time if they get caught or hooked, because if you're rooted to the ground or pulled in, there's good kill potential from actually both of those lanes. But I definitely give this one in favor of Cubon.
Well, both lanes are starting to push things up here, and we may have a bit of a race as to who can finish off that top or bottom outer turret faster than the other. Tabs, and we will fail there. Just putting down as much damage as they possibly can on towards Kubon. And of course, Zoro0 up at the top also has that bonus of his passive as well, which we should never really count out with a Malphite.
The one thing that doesn't play into his favor in this particular matchup is that very, very large auto attack range of Zyra. It's the longest auto attack out of the traditional supports that you've got in the game. So it's a very harassy, very spammy support champion, which means that his Granite Shield, that passive, will actually be popped most of the time if Libic is doing his job correctly. So, we'll keep a close eye on it. We actually seen that both Charu and Dexter were moving towards this top lane, thinking about setting something up, but instead it just looks like Dexter wants to help cover the lane. There's a very big minion wave here, and he basically just wants to prevent damage to the tower.
And we see that big wall of traps set up there by Michael to say, well, if anyone's coming through the lane, they're not going to get involved without being stunned up right on top of that. On the plants, of course, from Zyra as well. Never really underestimate the damage that they do, even though, it's not huge amounts when she's got no AP in there. It still can be significant to give that harassment over towards Zoro0.
It's one of my favorite things about Libic as a support. Oh, take a look at Zoro.
Yeah, going very, very low from this one. Have they got the damage to finish off? Zoro0 actually flashing away. The Ignite is burning onto him, and he's literally got, I don't know how much health. He's not a lot at all. 50 there, but he was already regenning for quite a while, and he got half a bar back from that. Ridiculously close there to first blood, and now Dexter is going to have to try and hold out. Zoro0 coming back into the lane. Could this be a risk, though?
Oh, Dexter's been caught out.
Yeah, Dexter caught out. Another Piltover Peacemaker coming in and playing things really close to the line there, Lemondogs.
Yeah, that was one auto attack away from death and picking up that first blood onto Zoro0 up in the top lane. Once his passive regen, he came back in, maybe trying to pick up some of the CS, but it didn't work out. Right now, though, we will find a flashes and dodges everything.
Yeah, but the thing is, he was actually going for that pink ward there. He's gonna lose out in the end.
Oh,
Gets the final hit off before it dies, and that almost cost him a life. Did, though, cost him a flash, which may come back to haunt him a little bit later on.
Especially when you consider that Charu is about to hit level 6, he has teleport available, and Charu does like to do early teleports. Something that we don't see out of mids that run teleport is the early usage of that ability, and it's something that Charu does not make the mistake of. So anticipate a gank in that bottom lane within the next couple of minutes as soon as he hits that level 6 and is able to unleash all of his power.
Now we can see that Kubon there doing, as he predicted, a much better job in terms of the farm in that solo lane as well. Currently 25 to 10 as Nautilus is going to visit bottom, but in the top lane, Zoro going very, very low here. Once again, we'll have to back away completely, and the headshot coming off onto him, getting rooted up, and a lot of damage very quickly coming out. In the bottom lane, Makata is still camping out the brush though here, and may try to get involved onto Tabs, or we will fail, knowing that that flash is down.
Charu has just backed, he has teleports available. We'll see if he'll join the party right now though. Look at there's Makata.
There we go, they are going to go down on towards We Will Fail. They know that he can't escape with the flash, gets pulled in, Repel comes down, We Will Fail, will die, flash away from Kubon. First blood meet your makers. Tabs tries to get a bit more damage off there, but they've got the job done, and it didn't need Charu to come down and help.
Charu was definitely sitting back there. I was looking at the inventory. There was a ward in Nautilus's back pocket, but I think the communication was clear. Makata said, we don't need it. We don't need your help. We can get this gank because he does not have flash. While all of that was going on, thanks to the pressure that Michael and Livic have applied in the top lane, that tower is almost about to be taken down, while Kubon has been able to hold about 50% of the HP of his respective tower in that bottom lane.
Yeah, they forced that Doran shield to come out from Zoro Zero as well, which, now, whilst not being a bad item at the end of the day, it certainly is, not a step towards his final build that he'll want to go. And this is going to be the first turret of the game going down in that top lane. Makler will finish that one off, and that's job done, and they will be able to rotate elsewhere and try and push out.
That is an incredibly important turn of events, because now if they decide to swap these lanes around and now put Elise in this matchup, Elise already has a 2-level advantage plus the first blood gold, which is just going to play into their favor and counters him. Look at the mid lane.
Oh, Nukta going very low. Their ultimate was used actually out of Charu, and he just about got away with it. Nukta could have shockwaved if he wasn't stunned when that all kicked off.
So Nukta got away with about 120 HP before the pots and potions were ticking in. A level 7 Ignite would have killed him. So that's exactly the thing with Syndra. As an assassin mage, as somebody who's built around blowing somebody up, if you have that Ignite, you can get the kill. But thanks to all the damage that Charu put down, it's a lot of damage onto this tower, and luckily Dexter has responded in quickly enough, so he's picked up a good amount of the CS, didn't let the experience or the gold go to waste.
Yeah, giving Charu there a bit of breathing room to get the wards down as well. And speaking of wards, if you look around, there are quite a lot of them down on the map. Meet Your Makers, we talked about this about 1 million times, I think, by now. That in the early days, they were one of the first teams to really be bringing these pink wards out. They like to keep that vision high. As Charu there, just having a little bit of a look on towards Nuke, but vision is high actually for both teams at this stage across the map.
It's something that both teams have done well in all of the games that they have played so far, is they've had very good vision against all of their opponents, no matter who they've played. And the one thing that does work in favor of Meet Your Makers is that they've got that teleport available at any time. It is still not being used. I did actually think they were going to use it to try to get first blood in the bottom lane, but as we said, they didn't need it. And look at again, Pink was denying vision from Lemondogs, meaning that at any time Charu wants to join and play and try to set up more kills, he can do so.
Right now, Dexter is going to be doing his red buff. He's got just coming back here to take away the race as well, so every little bit helps for that Orianna in the mid lane. 74 to 68 CS, currently in the lead from that one. The interesting thing is I thought that Makler and Livic might decide to rotate around to a different lane and try and push that out. What they've actually done is continue to push, and they're already putting down damage onto that inner turret.
One of the things that's working in their favor is they've shut down Malphite without needing Elise to do it. So Malphite is still not level 6, approaching 10 minutes on the board. He's got half the CS of his lane counterpart, and exactly like you said, all that free damage on the top tower, because they've got that vision control with that pink ward, and the fact that Charu can teleport to fight if they need him, basically Lemondogs are hamstring. They either pull people from other lanes and lose those towers, or basically sacrifice this lane, leave him on an island and say, Zoro Zero, you're going to have to go from 0 to hero if you want to help us out.
Well, right now a pink ward was put down on Dragon, but you're right in what you say. If you look at the purple ward, the red wards on that top side of the jungle, I mean, there's a big line of them which sees Nuke coming, they back off. As soon as he turns around, they walk back in.
And basically, even if they get through that vision and get anywhere near Kate, oh, Nuclex was stunned.
Yeah, getting stunned up there. The Dredge line not quite connecting onto him there for Makata. I think that one was almost too easy when he was stunned up.
Oh, the depth charge is going in.
Depth charge is going to come in. Have they got the damage here to finish off? Shockwave actually pulls them closer, and that is a kill for Charu. Dexter coming around, gets knocked up by the Stranglethorns. Makata is very low here as Dexter charges in. There's the shield, and he will manage to get away somehow with his life intact. Brilliant play out of Meteor Makers.
And he waited until the last second to flash. Makata was able to get away safely. In the top lane though, Malphite being pointed out by our cameraman Banky was taken down, and they managed to pick up the tower. The thing that's great about that play is as soon as they drop the tower down, they put another ward in the lane. So even if Zoro moves in to start farming, they're going to see it, they're going to be well aware of his position, well aware of where he is and when he will arrive in the different lanes, and they can just keep applying pressure like Kubon's doing right now.
And it really surprised me that Dexter wasn't in that top lane early, because honestly, he's the only man in that scenario that can stop that pressure onto that top lane from happening. Yes, he leaves then middle basically open to the attacks as well, but they had to react to that one. Now that they've lost that turret, that's not just that chunk of gold, but the danger that someone could push finally through and they could be on the inhibitor.
Well, I have to give props to Makla and Libic in that case, because the few times that Dexter did show up in the top lane, they got burst down so incredibly low. First blood almost on Zoro. He decided to stay in lane instead of back, heal, get more pots, and go back. So he was at this deficit. He couldn't do anything for the next couple of minutes. And, you know, when Dexter did arrive to relieve him, Dexter got chunked down. We do see once again another big burst of damage in the mid lane going onto Orianna. But right now, Meteor Makers are much more focused on the Dragon.
Yep, Dragon 12 minutes into the game. They have a very healthy lead, and it looks like they will take down the middle outer turret as well. That'll be a 3-0 turret lead, and it seems to me that this Dragon will be gone. Nasus is way away from that one. Not going to be able to get in there. Doesn't even have Smite available, does Dexter. And that will be the first Dragon of the game, then going over towards Meteor Makers. And right now, everything going to plan.
Yeah, right now it actually looked like Meteor Makers were trying to set something up in this bottom lane. They had the numbers advantage, but Makate decided to back away. And, you know, we seen the vision just as the Dragon was being taken down. There is 0 wards on that side of the map there for Lemondogs, so they had no idea that it had even been started. Charu, very wisely, he's walked up to this top lane and he's managed to defend it.
We will fail at getting rooted there right underneath the turret. It was the Piltover Peacemaker, and Kuban laying down as much damage as he could, which really forced We Will Fail to think about backing away from this one. That strong push there with Elise, Zyra, and Caitlyn. There's not many combos that can hold onto a turret with that.
No, not right now. Makate is actually going toe-to-toe with Nukejack, who's thinking about fighting. If a cocoon lands from Elise, it looked like they were poising for a fight, but Kuban wisely just backs away, starts dancing a little bit there in the lane, and just waiting for this wave. And they've got really good wave clear with all of the, you know, line AoE from both Zyra and Caitlyn, as well as the exploding Spiderlings. He's just going to wipe out these waves before their minions have even arrived.
And Dexter just taking one for the team there and standing on each of those traps. Obviously, he has got definitely a lot more HP. Does have his ultimate available as well, should that be called in. But We Will Fail It is the real dangerously low guy there at the back. His flash, of course, is now up. Does have that box available, so could turn things around, but they need to be real careful. And by the looks of it, that turret may be down on the next wave anyway.
Now, what I love about what Meteor Makers are doing right now, we've talked about how, you know, Lemondogs have a comp that can split push relatively well if they get to that position because they've got good wave clear. But Meteor Makers, they've stacked 3-man in this bottom lane for the last 2.5, 3 minutes, and they've let, respectively, Nautilus and Syndra defend the top lane turret from Malphite. So they've actually given Malphite time to get back to the game. Nukejack's been nuked!
Yeah, he's going very, very low from this one. Charu going to flash in there, not quite got the last burst of damage. There's that Ignite you were talking about once again that could have finished the deal. And now Zoro Zero is going to go in, flash, puts down the unstoppable force as well. And Charu, will he be able to escape from this one? The Ignite is ticking down, and that will be the kill. But he used literally everything on that one. As meanwhile, in this bottom lane, Limit going very low, Tabs as low. He will actually use his barrier, but Makla flashes in over the top, picks up the kill for that one, and he may even get more here. We Will Fail It going very, very low. The Wither is down on Makla though, and that's not quite going to be enough. We did see Zyra coming in from that backside.
Yeah, just managing to get those grasping roots down to pick up the last hit onto Thresh, so getting away advantageous. But after talking about how MYM had decided to push those lanes, they saved the towers, which is good. But what's bad is they allowed Zoro to farm his way back into this game. Because of the amount of time Cubon spent practically babysitting Michael and Livik, he is now only 10 CS ahead as opposed to 40 or 50 what it was a few moments ago. And of course that kill that Zoro is able to pick up with the assistance of Orianna played into his favor.
Let's have a look at items. That's something that we've not done because the action has been coming thick and fast here. Compare the AD carries. That's the easiest comparison at this stage. Infinity Edge is already done, as we are going to see here. Makata headed in towards that blue buff, just says hello to Nukuk and invites him to do the damage until he can get that smite down. Now the rest of Lemondogs are coming in, and Makata will quite frankly just back away, saying no thank you, I'm quite happy just to put pressure in. But back to the items. Infinity Edge already done here for Caitlyn. BF sword and a pickaxe in there, all needs to grade. So you see there the difference already coming out.
Yeah, basically 4 towers to 0 plus the dragon plus the kills is going to equate to a very large gold difference. Right now it's around about 1,500 gold between both Caitlyn and Graves, which is a very significant number. In the mid lane there's 1,000 gold advantage for Syndra, and you know, even in the top lane that's 1,000 gold. The thing is, the pace of the game is slowed down, and MYM, unless they keep... Oh, there's a fight at the bottom!
Moving in towards Tab, should be safe from this one there. The lantern was down from We Will Fail, but decided not to use that one, and Meteor Maker's going to push up, and they may go for that inner turret.
And basically this is what MYM has to do to maintain their lead. They have a 6,000 gold lead spread across all their characters, but if they allow their opponents time to farm and find places to engage, they could be in trouble. Zoro has unstoppable force. We do see Orianna getting close. If they group up, this is going to be a very big explosion.
There we go, Stranglethorn's going down. We'll knock 2 of them up, but it's the tanky 2, not really the 2 that Meteor Makers were looking for. And in the end, once that wave gets cleared off, MYM will back away somewhat from that. They don't need any risky plays at this point. They've got 5,000 gold lead, 4-0 in turrets to kills, 5-2, not the biggest of leads there, but mistakes can change this game pretty quickly.
And that's pretty much why MYM backed away. Because of the rate at which they accelerated and how much gold they got so quickly, they now need to make much riskier plays to continue that dominance. If you want to keep shutting down your opponents, denying them CS, controlling the towers, you need to be severely more overextended, which means if you get caught by an unstoppable force and a shockwave, you're pretty much going to be dead because there's nowhere to run to that's safe.
The funny thing is, at this point, if you look at the CS, it's ridiculously close after all that's been said and done here. 10 CS between the top laners. AD carries are literally on bang on. Even mid laners pretty close as well there. Maclet will just spot out Dexter. Grasping Roots not quite connecting in. Wither goes down. Wards are in position there. And a very, very interesting mid-game. If you look at the mini-map as well, you see MYM trying to take and keep control of that bottom side of the Lemondogs jungle.
But very wisely and intelligently from the Lemondogs, they are playing very aggressive themselves. Just in this ward, little area alone, there's about 6 or 7 wards. And Lemondogs realize Dragon will be coming up relatively soon. They've grouped up together as a 3-4-5 man in and around the river, putting some wards down and pretty much saying, look, even if we have to fight our way through to get vision, we will. Because until we have that information, we're not going to make plays. And that's the right thing to do in the position that they're in. Right now, the hook is called We Will Fail, and Makate wants to play.
Let's see if they can get in. Cocoon is down onto We Will Fail as well. Ultimate coming out from Graves just to try to force them back from this one, but I'm not sure that it's going to help totally. A lot of missed shots actually coming in. Makata getting right involved into them. There's the repel coming out. The box is down as well from We Will Fail. It's a defensive box there. Look at the positioning. There is the shockwave coming down. Zoro will drop first though, and then MYM are going to keep going. Grasping Roots will land onto We Will Fail. He's knocked up and knocked down by Charu, and that is a 3-0, and they're not done just yet. Double kill for Charu, and Tabs will be the lone man to escape the death squad, and MYM back off towards Dragon.
For anybody that wants to avoid the death ball that is Malphite Orianna combo, that is exactly what you need to do. Pay attention to that team fight. Meteor Makers split up. They were spread across the river left to right. That's a flash from Makata. He really wants to get Tabs.
Yeah, they really wanted that final kill there, and it was pretty close. Kubon has just soloed the Dragon there with Elise, and they're going to be taking the inner middle turret as well. So overall, from that fight, Meteor Maker's not just getting the kills in there, they've really capitalized on it with objectives as well.
And it was the perfect team fight because of how they handled it. I was trying to touch on the fact that they split across the river, and they did it the entire fight. There was never a time when you wanted to use the Unstoppable Force or the Shockwave, and as the fight was going more and more and more in favor of Meteor Makers because of their range, because Caitlyn was just laying down the damage, Lemondogs panicked and went, we need to Shockwave, we need to Unstoppable Force, and they practically hit nobody. Because Zora Zero got killed, his ultimate is up and available, and Shockwave caught Nautilus, which Meet Your Makers are going to be ecstatic about.
Interesting couple of pickups here as well for MYM. Both Charu and Makler have gone for distortion boots here, so wanting to get that extra cooldown on the teleport and the flash that they both have.
So for Makler, I think that's more of a defensive, just a defensive purchase. Even though he's got the barrier as well to save him, basically his only defense against an Unstoppable Force is a well-timed flash. You have to be godlike if you want to dodge it with a 90 caliber net. And basically, if he's got the cooldown available as soon as possible, he can, flash that ulti from Malphite, which is no easy feat, let me tell you.
No, you got to have quick reactions either way that you do that one. Right now, Meet Your Makers on the top side of the Lemondogs jungle, and as we saw them do earlier on, grasping control with wards and positional play. They're going to do it on that top side as well. Makler covering the bottom lane as well. Tabs and We Will Failer are still there trying to get the first turret here. Lemondogs have not taken a single tower down up to now.
And it's really showing in the gold. It's continuing to go in favor of Meet Your Makers. The moment we say that, they managed to pick up their very first tower in the bottom lane as they were stacked up as a 3-man there. Right now, though, Meet Your Makers realizing that maybe they're a little out of position. This is a miscommunication that you can see Makata and Charu were going, well, let's push middle. The rest of the team's like, well, let's defend bottom or maybe cut them off. We can pick up some kills. And they basically split up. This is something that can cost your team if you're not all on the exact same page. At the moment, something dramatic happens.
Let's have a look down the items then once again as both teams in a little bit of a lull phase, just going to be pushing these lanes out wherever they can. And to compare the middle lanes, the death cap is now finished here for Syndra, as we are going to see them going in actual on towards Nuke. When you see the depth charge coming out, the hook not quite landed from Makata, and it was all a little bit anticlimactic after a little while there as we are going to see them coming in from the side, but again, it's a bit of damage exchange, but no real engage.
No, not right now. The collateral damage is used to try and pick up that red buff, but it did not actually land correctly. Now, Makler is pushing the bottom lane. They're trying to get closer to that tower, and MYM, it looks like they're going to defend the mid lane as a 4. They realize Malphite is up in the top lane, so they can pick a 4v4, and they think they're confident. There goes Cubon and Nuke Duck.
Nuke Duck is in a lot of trouble here. He's going to get pulled in. He is going to be finished off, and they're not done just yet. They're going towards Dexter. He's stunned, then knocked up by the Stranglethorns. A helpful Lantern will bring him back to safety, though. But Meet Your Makers have forced them back. Getting that kill on towards Nuke Duck will certainly help out.
This is going to cost them maybe 1 or 2 inhibitor turrets. With the numbers advantage, a 4-man stack in the mid lane, and Makler with a massive wave in the bottom lane. Whichever tower they decide to focus down, they'll be able to do it. Positional mistakes from Lemondogs here, costing them the kill, the death, and now this inhibitor turret as well, if MYM tank it up a little bit.
Is Makata going to go in there onto this one? Just gets flayed back by We Will Failer. The turret not quite finished off. There's the Unstoppable Force. Makler getting caught out with that one. And the 90 caliber net actually bringing him to safety, funnily enough, after what we talked about earlier on. Meet Your Makers losing nothing from that one and gaining that inner turret on the bottom lane.
Purely because Nuke Duck had been killed earlier in the mid lane. If they had comboed the Shockwave with that Unstoppable Force, Lemondogs would have been able to pick up more kills out of that bottom lane engagement. But because they were out of position, because Zora Zero was up in that top lane and adamant he wanted the tower, it basically cost them that sequence of objectives as well as all of that free damage in that bottom in-hit turret. But crucially, it is alive. They have saved it. So if the siege starts up again, they're just going to reinitiate on MYM, dive on them with that Unstoppable and the Shockwave, and then try to delete them from the game.
So gold difference creeping up towards that 10,000 mark now. Only 2 kills as well on the board. 1 for Malphite, 1 for Nasus, which, when you look down the team, Oriana and Graves could really do with a couple of kills apiece by this stage of things. 25 minutes in. And let's not forget, MYM last night, their absolute destruction in 22 minutes, I think
22
it was. Yeah, that's the kind of game that this was looking to be. Lemondogs right now still holding on, and whilst you hold on, there's still always that chance.
Yeah, and especially because of the composition that they have, if Meet Your Makers overextend just a tiny bit, or they're a tiny bit grouped or something similar, they can get bursted down very quickly. I do want to point out the vision on the bottom half of that map, because Zyra is planting little seed ward plants everywhere, and it's just got so much wards in the entirety of the jungle. They're just slowly timing out now, but there was about 6 wards on that half of the map. And it's just been vision superiority for MYM, which has allowed them to keep this control. So a lot of the money that they've actually been earning has been spent on vision to maintain this control in this lead.
And a giant belt now for Zyra as well, just added in there. And was probably the easiest of the targets going in now. Definitely not anymore.
So Libic likes building HP because he likes being an aggressive, in-your-face type of support. And, you know, on Zyra, if you can hang around, cast some more spells, you're going to get more damage out, going to get more plants out, more utility, and help your team out. Right now, MYM are poising for a fight. Depth charge is available for Makate. Flash is available for Caitlyn if she needs to get out of any, you know, dangerous positions. And it's basically just whoever puts that little toe out of position quicker will be the one that gets jumped on. But right now, Cubon's inside. They may be able to get a free dragon.
And the amount of wards on that top side just screams, if there's an opportunity, we're going to take that Baron here for Meet Your Makers. There's a hell of a lot up there as we see Living the sidestep. The hook coming out of Thresh, no problem from there. Kubon, in the meantime, just soloing that dragon, no real problem for him. Got that got the Crystal Scepter in there now, along with the Haunting guys and those Sorcerer Shoes. He's going to be very, very painful, Spider.
Yeah, hurting, you know, a lot. And, you know, they've got a composition that actually works very well against Baron. We'll get back to that in a second as Mokate eats a smoke screen. Can't get vision, can't get the depth charge down. And, you know, if you combo Elise with the Spiderlings, with that Skittering Frenzy, if you get all the plants from Zyra down and the damage that's coming out from their champions, you can actually kill Baron very, very quickly. You see, they have started this one up. Lemondogs are aware of it. They don't have full vision. They're going to have that little plant down from Libic applying the slow. And right now, Lemondogs are either going to have to force an engage or MYM may peel.
Yeah, MYM going to peel off from this one. Actually starting to back away somewhat. They want to make sure that Unstoppable Force doesn't hit onto them. There's a Stranglethorn actually going to be used on the bottom side. Zoro is actually going to finish off Kubon here. And this may not go the way that Meet You Makers have planned. Tabs actually will just back off as well. And Lemondogs, a few of them very, very low. There's the hook coming in. Kill for Maclon towards Zoro. Can they continue? Shockwave does nothing whatsoever. Thresh goes down. There is Malphite going down. Now they chase Tabs, who's facing a certain death here. The minions actually doing a bit of damage to him on the way there. He tries to dodge for a little bit, waste a bit of time, but that will be 4 kills coming down for just the one of Meet Your Makers.
For the second time this game, a crucial ultimate was not used in the team fight. Unstoppable Force is still available. Zoro was holding on to it because they were not grouped up enough. And actually, Makla flashed super, super early. Zoro practically stood in front of him, and Makla insta-flashed. He thought that Unstoppable was coming down. And maybe if that had happened, maybe if that had hit, and they could have killed Caitlyn, they maybe could have done something a little bit different in that fight. But nevertheless, 4 for 1 and a Baron, MYM. This is their game to lose.
Yeah, definitely. That's definitely how it's going to go down here. Now Dexter might be in trouble. He's actually going to put the Wither down there. Not quite getting hit by Charu. Either way, they're going to have decent amounts of gold to spend here. In fact, I say decent, it's a lot of gold to spend. 3,200 gold here for Makla. He's going to have to head home and have the shopping trip of his life.
10% of Lemondog's total gold is in Makla's back pocket waiting to be spent. So a 10th of the total money that the entire team of Lemondogs has earned this game has just been spent there by Caitlyn, by Makla. And they were winning the fights so incredibly well by their positioning and their control with the item advantage they already had. There's very little that will, you know, pull Lemondogs back into this unless MYM completely throw these fights.
And that was a very scary thing. You know, you looked Infinity Edge, a couple of extra little bits. I think it was a Zeal and a pickaxe. That's now an Infinity Edge, a Phantom Dancer, and a Last Whisper all of a sudden back into the equation. So, you know, this is going to be not an impossible task for Lemondogs. There's still obviously always a chance, but it's going to take a massive mistake from MYM.
And basically, not only was the Last Whisper and Phantom Dancer completed in their last buy, the rest of the champions in MYM, Landry's Torment completed, Runic Bulwark completed, Zonya's Hourglass completed. In response, the only completed item in the last couple of minutes is an Aegis of the Legion. So that's not even a Bulwark yet. And you just add all of that additional statistics, the HP, the defensive statistics, the Bulwark auras, etc. And it just really shows how far ahead MYM right now. They're playing perfectly. I mean, there's no other word for it.
One thing that we've seen a lot from these teams that have a lot of potential is, you know, the inability to really close out games where they have got these big leads. We are going to see Lemondogs in there. not quite landing the cocoon. Dangerous.
So that was smart from Lemondogs because they realized that Nautilus was up in the top lane and they're still trying to make plays happen. They realize Nautilus will take a little bit of time to get into this lane, so it will be a 5 versus 4. But Meet Your Makers, they're confident with that. They feel that their item advantage is significant enough that they can even hang around. And I mean, look at this, Cubon and Libic. They're in the enemy jungle. There is a ward lower down, so they do have vision, but that's very confident, aggressive play.
Nautilus is finally heading down now. Let's see what they go for next. That bottom inner turret, of course, was down a little bit earlier on, so it's all down to that inner ring, the final 3 turrets just protecting those inhibitors. And Meet Your Makers, my point earlier on, about this whole closing the game out. A lot of teams in the early stages of their professional life, and we can't really say that about Meet Your Makers, but certainly at this level, this is the highest level they've ever been on, we've seen the inability can sometimes cost you games.
Just think back to MYM versus Dragonborn. Neither team was able to defeat one another, even with massive amounts of gold. We'll touch on that in a second as this tower is dropping ever slower. Just 1 or 2 auto attacks from Caitlyn is all that's going to need, and this tower will be down. So Lemondogs, this is their last stand. They need to have a very good engage if they want to make anything happen.
Yeah, and look at that. Makata actually taking a good chunk of damage. I mean, he's pretty tanky in there with that runic bulwark down. The turret is very low as well, but they just need to get in there for those final couple of hits. But just a case of who takes those steps. Caitlyn will be the natural choice, but also the most juicy choice for Lemondogs to latch onto and try and take down at the start of the fight. Minion waves does come down, and this should be that turret going down, and it will be finished off there. Nuke actually getting stunned up down the bottom side, a bit of damage being exchanged.
And on top of that, Makata walked in and rooted Malphite. Pretty much said, I'm going to take 1 or 2 turret hits and prevent you using that ultimate. So, smart play. Dexter's been rooted, and he has the final fight.
And look at that, they've actually been caught out. We Will Failure is going low in there as well. Can they get the finisher? Not quite, but they force them away. That will lead to the first inhibitor for Meet Your Makers. They're happy with the job. Doesn't matter about the kills from this one. They just want to get those inhibitors out of the game so that the super minions feed in and they can finish it.
And look at the massive creep wave in the top lane. So if Meet Your Makers want to continue this pressure, they have the ability to do so. If you look at Libic's items, he's had that Giant's Belt and the Warden's Mail for a little while. He's going to eventually upgrade this to the likes of Arandian's Omen. And there's actually not a lot of physical damage threats coming from the side of Lemondogs, but he wants it for the active. He wants it to be able to slow the movement speed of Nasus of Malphite and allow Makla to kite. So it's a really smart item choice that is basically there to control the tempo of team fights and allow Meet Your Makers to, fight it out at their terms and at their speed.
Well, they're headed down now towards that second inhibitor turret, and wise choice as well to go for that one, not only because of those minion waves that come down, but because those super minions are slowly but surely going to be pushing down through that bottom lane, and that's the biggest split that you can hope for here for Lemondogs' defense. Pink Ward's put down by We Will Failure trying to sort that out. There you see the first super minion wave starting to come in, and Meet Your Makers quite simply biding time for it to come through.
Yeah, and basically this is the plan now. You use those minions, allow them to stack up, and when they're applying pressure, you then pick your fight. The one thing that I am going to call Charu out on, and I'm going to ask you to help me here, has he used teleport once?
No.
So there was 3 or 4 instances where an Ignite would have secured a kill, but we haven't seen a single teleport that hasn't been impactful. Dexter's been hooked up once again, but it's not going to be a fight just yet.
If he did use it, it was only to get back into lane at some point, but he definitely didn't use it aggressively to get into a fight, which I'm going to go with he picked it just to scare them of the possibility.
I don't think Makla knows how to rebind it. Maybe some of the Riot Tech guys need to help him rebind that to something else. But yeah, we've seen the engages in the mid lane. He almost got Nuke Duck. He almost got Zoro 0 once. And if he had Ignite, those would have been additional kills. So that's the only reason I pointed out. Super minions.
He is also 5-1-3 and it's 14-3 overall.
Touche.
I'm going to give him a little bit of leeway on that whole teleport thing. Meet Your Makers start to finally push through on towards the turret. Actually, unstoppable force was used there by Zoro Zero. Shockwave comes down, but look at the damage coming out from Charu. He is now unstoppable. Dexter's right in the middle of them, but he will have to back away as well. Tab's now trying to get involved. Cocoon goes through, that misses. Tab's taking a lot of damage and he's stunned up, has to flash away. And Meet Your Maker slowly but surely doing more and more damage and forcing the Lemondogs back. But they will be able to heal and come back into the fight, but that inhibitor might already be gone.
Yeah, now the Unstoppable Force hit nobody because Makla flashed it. The cooldown is available or not used. Now we see Nukeduck get chunked so low by the damage of Hugon and Charu respectively. They get that second inhibitor. Now Makers will back off, regen, spend some money, but it's not over.
No, Charu getting hooked here will actually use the Zonyas. Let's see if they can finish him. He flashes straight afterwards, and he's going to escape at least for now. Let's see if he can finish this up. Knocks them all back. Stun comes in. Oh, the ace in the hole getting through. I think Dexter was trying to block that one, but was a little bit slow to communicate that with his team, or you know, just stand on the line.
So good. The 3-man stun coming up from Syndra, followed up by the volatile Spiderling from Elise. With the Rylai's Crystal Scepter meant they were slowed as well. And Makla just went, I'll have another. Why not? That'll be number 7. Lucky number 7 for me. And 7152 inhibitors down. They're going to spend even more money and bring themselves back into this fight. Ranyard's Omen and Void Staff completed, as well as a Blade of the Ruined King for Caitlyn. I don't think Makla can do more damage.
No, and the interesting thing here once again is that there was 3,000 gold for Makla. He just gone straight back with the same amount as we were talking about before, and he's buying up. Look at that, compare it to his opposite number who's got more CS than him, doesn't have a single kill right now, has died a couple of times as well, and there's just no contest when it comes to that persistent damage coming out. And this is, sadly to say, you know, I always want to keep things optimistic as we can, but this is a matter of time here for Makers. It's going to take a ginormous throw to really lose this game.
Yeah, I got Ganchuan throw, and right now Makla is using that sneaky Caitlyn position to just deal all the damage onto Baron Nashor. They've got those Spiderlings, they've got those Plantlings, they've got all those additional assistants, and that was effectively a 3-man Baron. But because of the Spiderlings and the plants, you've got all those additional damage sources, which, even though they're small numbers, they add up very, very quickly and allow you to take that Baron down quite fast. Right now, Inhibitor will be respawning within the next minute or so in that bottom lane, which means MYM will try to get this mid lane down before that one's up, and then they can just roll down and take it for free.
Just having to be careful here off towards the side. Charu was trying to damage him through the wall, and the ball's being thrown. Like a game of volleyball that they're playing there over the wall of the base.
That was the ultimate as well from Charu. That was, you've seen all those balls laying around. He has a fight on Lemon.
Yeah, they're going to go in. Zoro Zero and Dexter both very low. The depth charge will actually catch two of them. Unstoppable Force was used, but it's not so unstoppable as they take him down afterwards. Dexter will try and run away from this one, but already 2 men down for Lemondogs. This is surely the finisher for Makers. They are going to take down the Nexus turret. There's nothing that the Lemondogs can do to stop this one happening. Dexter already leaving the game from this one, and Makers going to pick up another victory here in the LCS Summer Split. They go 3-0 at the top of the table.
This game was phenomenal, and basically the only constructive criticism